first question for chapter 1. Can you think of any similarities between the government of Oceania and any real life governments?
So, as the person that is doing the connections for this assignment, I've been able to find a few. One being, crap, what was I about to say? I find lots of similarities take place with like China's social credit system, where cameras are set up all around China and each person's documented and recorded wherever they go. And then the telescreens being able to pick up audio, mirrors, like how iPhones and whatnot have built-in microphones that record what we talk about, which we see with like getting personalized advertisements and whatnot. And then also you can also see the similarities with how this government works with other governments, such as how North Korea runs their things, and then how Nazi Germany used to run their things.
Yeah, of course. I know China for sure like restricts internet access and like manipulates the media to control like the public perception and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
I definitely agree with those 2 points. I also want to point out like there's the propaganda aspect to the party, which can be seen in like all throughout history. For example, what was it called? Wait, hold on, I have it here. The Uncle Sam posters from the United States during the World Wars.
Yeah, for sure. It seems like I made a connection with propaganda too, where in Oceania they introduced Newspeak, which is a language designed to limit thought and expression, and in real life they use propaganda language, which is similar. They use, for example, euphemisms like collateral damage or enhanced interrogation to make things sound better than they actually are. Yeah.
Anybody else?
I just want to say it also adds one other aspect of expand and comparison. I mean, we could easily see other aspects of Oceania's government, like the manipulation of truth and history, and draw further real-world parallels, like Oceania's Ministry of Truth. Some authorizations regimes have altered historical records to support the ruling party's narrative.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Rujo, you got anything to add?
So basically everything is covered, but I'd like to say Oceania's government is basically like the North Korea government and like Nazi Germany when we look back. Yeah, like the Big Brother's watching you is used as a reminder for people to like they're getting watched 24/7, no privacy at all.
Yeah, like that's scary. Like like the fact that they're using like the amount of surveillance through like telescreens and microphones, and like the fact that like people's children are like informing the government on their parents and stuff. Like,
I'm pretty sure that happens in like North Korea or like somewhere, because I remember hearing about that a few years ago. Then I was reading this book and I was like, wait a second, I've seen this before. That's not good.
Yeah,
That probably definitely feels like really suffocating to be in.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Anything else, anyone?
I think we good?
Perfect.
Yeah, we good.
Nice.
Go.
Nice.
And cut.
For the second question, why does everyone seem to be pulled in during the 2 minutes hate?
I feel like they're obligated to join this respective practice which was taking place, because if they try otherwise, they will face brutally repugnant consequences and, or most cases, their own lives.
Yeah, I think they definitely feel obligated, because like it takes place in groups.
Yeah.
So they might need to take part to feel like they like fit in and act like everyone else in order to like not be suspected of like treason or whatever.
Yeah. There's definitely that peer pressure aspect to it.
Yeah.
Where like if they see everybody else yelling, they don't want to stand out by like not yelling, so they have to do it.
There's an actual term in psychology known as groupthink, where, for example, if there's like a fire going on and like you know that you're supposed to like get down on the ground, right? Because there's like smoke in the air. If everyone's standing up, you're not gonna want to go down the ground to save your life, even though you know that, right? And it only gets worse in this case here, where of course if you don't do it, you're gonna be suspected of treason, right? As we already said. So yeah, again, it's an actual psychology term that we see it happen almost every day.
Yeah.
So like in the book, Winston also mentions that it's hard to resist because like everyone is doing it, like you mentioned, and like it's because everyone is doing it. The 2 minutes hate is basically giving them like strong emotions like fear and anger by showing them like common enemy images like Emmanuel gold sign, and then the party uses this to control the citizens of Oceania to like have them under control and like no, yeah.
Yeah, it seems like it like kind of forces them to be loyal, like through this like collective like
Yeah.
what's the word?
Because
Like,
this basically
conformity, kinda?
like controls their mental health. And all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Their thinking as well.
There's,
Yeah.
there's that mob mentality.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so like
yeah,
even
that's
if
another one I
like
was trying to remember.
people like do doubt the party, like the 2 minutes hate like forces them to like conform and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah. All right.
Nice, nice.
Nice one.
Yeah.
For the next question, why is the party so obsessed with control?
So the party's obsession with control comes from the need to completely control people's behavior, right? Their emotions and their thoughts, like we already talked about. Like Winston sees how even young children are taught how to spy on their own parents and report them to higher authorities.
Yeah.
When he visited the Parsons apartment, to make sure that no one can think or act against it, the party uses loyalty, fear, and constant surveillance. It also uses the 2 minutes hate, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right? The party removes any chance of like resistance and maintains the long-term power
Yeah.
by controlling what people think of from like a young age, so they don't resist when they get older.
Yeah, just like preventing rebellion.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a big part of it. Like, and they want to stay in power, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. They really just care about control. Like that's all.
Yeah.
That's all they care about is control. Just like controlling people's thoughts, their beliefs,
Simulation.
ensuring their loyalty. Like, seems like that's all that matters to them, right?
Yeah.
And plus, the party has a fixed like mindset. They don't have a growth mindset, so they are not like proceeding. Like they're not seeing the subsequent like step. They're just staying in their zone, and they feel like that's right, and they can like do whatever they want to do in that little zone. So that's why they want the control in the whole for the whole program.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. 100%.
It's like there is no privacy in your own like house because your own
Yeah.
kids are spying on your stuff.
And there's the telescreen too.
Yeah. It's like you can't do anything.
Exactly. The next question. If you were in Winston's position, would you risk writing in a diary?
His house is like conveniently the only one that would allow him to, because you know, like he had to explain in the first chapter where he has a like shelf or something with the wall that allows him to write without the telescreen seeing him.
Yep.
So if I was anyone else, no, because I would never be able to, right? But because if I had that in my house, of course I would.
Dude, how lucky is Winston? with that?
Literally.
Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Literally.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. Personally, I don't know. I feel like I don't know that it's worth it. Like,
Same. For me, I don't think I would like risk my life writing a diary when there's like 24/7 surveillance and like I'm getting watched. So no, this is
Well, the way I see it, is if I'm Winston, right? I already hate the government, and
Yeah.
that itself is already a crime. What is it? It's called a thought crime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that.
Yeah.
So like, at some point you're already gonna get caught, so you might as well just like. So in the way I feel, I might as well just try and get my feelings out there if I was gonna get caught already. So,
I feel the same thing because why do like we have to live our life in like fear? We could just like at the end, what's gonna happen? Like the most they could do is like just kill you. That's
Yeah,
it.
but,
Like
like,
after death, you don't know where you go.
thinking something is one thing, but actually
Yeah.
like writing
Yeah.
out your
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah,
for
yeah.
That just
them to
makes
like
it even worse.
for them to
because
find.
they have evidence.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah,
that.
the evidence, like it just seems
Sending
like you're
yourself to the
begging to
grave.
be caught. Honestly,
Yeah.
Like,
Thinking can be a thought crime, but then writing it down just makes it even worse because
yeah, you're
that's
just giving them evidence.
you're just giving them evidence to kill yourself. So,
Yeah,
Well, maybe,
like,
maybe, yeah. It's kind of like 50-50. It's
yeah,
like
it's a
like
tough decision
doozy
for
one,
sure.
yeah.
Cause like, yeah, I don't know.
So to test this out, we're all gonna take a trip to North Korea.
We should definitely.
Yeah.
I'm staying home. You let me know how that
yeah,
goes.
I'll let you
You
know.
got that. You got that.
Yeah,
All right. Anything else to add?
yeah. Nope, we good.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
We're good.
That was good.
How does George Orwell use imagery to describe Winston's dream? So there's a part where he describes the golden country. He describes it as an old rabbit-bin pasture with a foot track wandering across it, and a molehill here and there.
That was my passage. I was gonna read.
Oh, really?
No, yeah, I'll continue on. Where is it? Ragged, whatever. Faintly in the breeze, their leaves just stirring in the dense masses like women's hair. Somewhere near at hand, though, out of sight, there was a clear, slow-moving stream, where dace were swimming in the pools under the willow trees. What was I gonna say?
Yeah.
That's how he uses imagery, guys.
Yeah,
Nice,
all
nice,
of this imagery seems to like symbolize kind of hope and freedom, and just like he's picturing a world like untouched by the party and like just like free kind of.
Yeah.
yeah, he does mention that he feels like very calm and free from all the different. Like it says, it feels different from all the darkness and the controlled world that he already lives in.
And plus, I feel like the imagery gives a sense of loss, warmth, and confusion, and and it shows how deeply Winston's memory are connected to a time before the party's total control.
Yeah.
That's essential. I
In the
feel like.
starting of chapter, it also says that Winston was dreaming of his mother,
Yeah.
and then later in the chapter, he also says like the dream was of his mother and his sister, and he thinks that he's the reason why they're gone.
Yeah. To add to that dream of his mother, he describes his mother as a tall, statuesque, rather silent woman with slow movements and magnificent fair hair.
Yeah. It seems like just like this imagery of like this natural world is meant to like contrast like Winston's life in like 1984, like in the real world.
Yeah.
It seems like it's just like meant to show the hard contrast. I feel like the imagery really does that well.
And plus, I feel like he's thinking about his mother and his sister because those are the only person he know of. Like in that time, they had no friends, as talked like later in the book. They have no friends. They have no like family members. So he's just reminiscing his old thoughts, and I feel like that's a crucial part why he was dreaming about his mother and his sister. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else? Perfect. Okay.
Why does the party constantly rewrite and fix history?
I think it ties to what Nolan was saying earlier during our control question, where if like they want more control over the people, right? It'd make more sense to then control history as well. When Winston's talking to some guy who's working on the language, he was saying by 2050 no one would have remembered Old Speak, so like the way we're talking right now, right? So that too, right? There's also only a few people who remember life before all of this happened with the party and whatnot controlling, because Winston tries to go and talk to some of them, right? But they're so old that they can barely like form proper sentences. So if they control history, then newer generations will just never think that things were different beforehand.
Yeah.
They'll never question the party's authority because it seems like they're always right. Because that's what they're doing. They're fixing like their
Yeah.
mistakes from the past and making it seem like they were right the entire time.
Yeah.
It's 100% just all about control, like was said before.
And plus, by constantly editing the past, the party ensures they are always right, and even when they are not, they could still prove that, like, whatever we say is just that's it. Like, there
Yeah,
is
that's
no like rewrite. There is no like contradictory to that whole like setup.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and like they use it to like erase like the evidence of like their mistakes or broken promises. Excuse me. That like the parties made, and it's all just meant to like ensure that the people kind of trust them and just overall control their minds and make themselves look powerful.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
100%.
Yeah.
Is that all?
Yeah.
I think we're good.
Sounds good. Yep.
What literary device was used when Winston creates lies when working at the Ministry of Truth?
So the lit device he used was irony. If we specifically say what, it's the situational irony.
Nice.
Is that just like a
Yeah.
quiz question?
Do you know?
Does someone want to try and elaborate on that? Like,
It's
explain.
situational irony, yeah. It varies situational in the form
Yeah.
of irony.
It's also very it's
Like,
ironic.
Does anyone
Two
have
out
a?
of
Does
three
anyone
other
have a
ironies.
I have
spin
it.
that?
Two of the other three ironies wouldn't
have
really
it?
work, but situational irony, that's like the one that fits. So that's how it was written.
Yeah.
Situational irony.
Vaughn, you said you had something.
Yeah, I have it.
I don't think
Like,
you want all of this nonsense already.
yeah.
Oh, we're keeping it. We're keeping it.
Yeah.
So should I start? Oh, is it start?
It's been going.
Yeah, it's been going.
It's
Sorry,
been
I'm
going,
sorry.
it's been
Okay.
going, yeah.
Okay. So basically, the lead device is irony, especially situational irony. For example, Winston works at the Ministry of Truth, which should be a place where truth is preserved, but his actual job is to create lies and rewrite facts. That there is also paradox in the name itself, since the ministry does the opposite of what its title suggests.
Yep.
Yeah.
This was
Yeah.
supposed to be a
Got it.
10-second answer.
Yeah, and it ended up being 10 minutes.
Let's get the principal's thought on this.
End of class. I have to go. I'm a cell.
Now,
Cool.
Why does the party want to reduce the number of words in the language? Well, I think it's to limit like the range of thought, because like with less words, there's less ideas.
True.
It also like again goes back to control.
Yeah.
It stops a rebellion because people can't really talk to each other.
Yeah, like controlling their thoughts, especially like fewer words means fewer ways to express rebellion or even rebellious thoughts. So there's that.
yeah, and
The mic definitely picked that up, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, Ayla.
Yeah, just also like they can make it so that like these, what do you call it, like thought crimes are like almost impossible, because like without the words to question or criticize the party, people can't have these anti-party thoughts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, just to add a little, like by shrinking the language, the party hopes to eliminate the possibility of free thoughts and make thought crimes impossible to like have, like to pay.
Yeah.
Basically, the party wants to reduce the language so that people can't think of for themselves.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
They can only think about the party
Yeah.
since all the words are connected to the party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It every question we have leads back to control.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
everything about the party just leads back to control. All they want is control.
Yeah.
A little bit off topic, but when I was reading this chapter, right? So he's how he's saying like good and bad. We get rid of bad and just say good and ungood. That kind of ties to current brain rot terms because like listen. Alive, dead. We don't need dead. Just have alive, and then we've seen online unalive.
Yeah.
We already see this in
Yeah.
today's world.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's happening.
It's happening right
it
now.
is happening.
It's happening.
Right.
Yeah. It's oh my. And people are saying that so they don't get censored online, right? By like TikTok and whatnot.
Yeah.
They're saying that because that's the only way they're able to get their point across under the control of the different tech companies, right? So it gets under the radar. So that's why they say unalive instead of dead.
Yeah, maybe in the future we'll be like controlled by all these like big organizations.
Already are.
So maybe the prophecy like predicts 100 years from now, not now, but 100 years from
2050.
2025. So it will be like the big organization will try to like condemn us and try to control all our like words and all our like thoughts. So yeah, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Pretty big.
That's all I got.
All right.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
nice.
so
That was
That's
nice.
like my favorite connection I've
Thank
made
you.
so far.
That was really good.
Thank you very much to special guest Ayla for the
Yeah.
sound effects there.
Yeah.
For the
Yeah.
If there was a world where the government controls who you can marry and how you express love, what impacts would that have on its citizens?
We kind of had an entire unit, or at least a sub-unit on this in psychology class, and saying because I think it was tied to something related to love, but it's saying if you like you put like the boundaries and like restrictions on it, there's gonna be a higher chance of more people doing it in private and in more unsafe conditions. Oh yeah, right. We're talking about abortion or something, right? And compared to other countries in the world where there are less restrictions or no restrictions, the cases of like bad stuff happening in that context reduces compared to when it's controlled, because humans are more like if you tell a person no, lots of like even like you tell a baby no, right? They're gonna want to do it even more. And some personalities, you try stopping them, they just want to do it even more. So in the context of what your question was, Marco, where you're talking about, you know, like would we still want to, like how would that affect the population?
Yeah.
I feel it would just like it'd be more in secret, and because it'd be in secret, there'd be more like harm, such as like rape and whatnot.
Yeah, especially in the case of Winston, like
Oh, yeah.
it seemed like he felt more inclined to visit these women that were selling their bodies, and there seemed to be more of them. So
Exactly.
it definitely plays a role. For sure.
It goes back to control again. It controls the people's feelings, emotions. Because if the party controls who you can love or who you can marry, then I just goes back to control, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah,
This
for
is
sure.
it's basically like you're not loving that person. It's like you're getting forced to love that person and be with them your whole
Yeah.
life.
And on the flip side, it will be like so impossible to even like have feelings for each other. It will be like completely impossible to create deep connections.
Yeah.
And I feel like it will just create a whole mess, and it will like end all the human instincts and the human like thoughts like then and there if somebody like tries to control our mindset.
That's literally like what they're trying to do in the book, right?
Yeah.
He's saying like, you can't kill the instincts, so you have to make it so like dirty in their head, right? It's like I think there's even a line in the book like if there was like a hint of the fact that they love each other when they're getting married, besides the fact that they're marrying just for reproduction, then they wouldn't allow it.
So basically, they're just killing all the gut instincts, all the
Yeah.
impulse, and just fabricating it into something which they want
Yeah.
instead of what like we want.
Yeah.
So,
They're getting rid of like the love aspect in marriage
Yeah.
and focusing more in on like it's for the party. It's what the
Yeah.
party wants, stuff like that.
Yeah, basically what control means. Like they're just trying to get ways to control the citizens.
yeah,
I
pretty
think we're
good.
good.
Yeah, good.
Why does Winston believe that the proles are the only hope? And do you think Winston actually believes this?
I feel like Winston believes the proles might be the only group because he thinks it could be the only group in like strong enough to rebel because they make up the majority of the population and aren't constantly monitored like party members. He sees their natural human behavior as a sign of freedom. However, deep down, he also doubts whether they'll ever realize their power or care enough to rise up. So I feel like while he says they are the only hope, he doesn't seem fully convinced, but like on himself, like they're fully free, and yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think he doesn't actually like fully believe that the Poles are actually going to do anything about the party or like fight back, because in the book he says that they're too like distracted by like stuff like gambling and stuff. So I don't think he believes that they can start a rebellion.
It's like he thinks that if anyone can rise up and fight back against the party, it can only be the pros because they're like not constantly watched and not monitored by the party members and all that stuff. Because they still have their real emotions and relationships and like some freedom. Like
They
the
also
par-
make up the majority, don't they?
Yeah, they make up the majority of the population. But at the same time, Winston is not sure like if they will ever realize their own power. He sees that the pros are too focused on their own daily survival, like you said, right? And simple things like work and entertainment. So even though like he says they're the only hope, deep down he knows that they can't actually rise up because of all the daily things that are focused on.
And I feel like maybe he thinks like the crows are like sluggish in a way. They cannot like see far behind. They just want to like be in their little group because they are free. So why do they care about like rest of the population?
They just want to stay in their bubble.
Yeah.
basically,
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think Winston like really wants to believe that like this change is possible. Like even if he's not sure that it is, but he really like wants to believe that it is. In my opinion, from what I can tell.
To be honest, I forgot everything about the proles. That's why I haven't said anything.
That's fine.
It's
no
fine,
worries.
it's fine.
I've been like,
okay,
you guys have been
okay.
like refreshing my memory.
Alright, now you know.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what these are for. All right, perfect. Yeah.
So this question is for the people that have only read up to part 1. Winston realizes that he was being followed by the dark-haired girl. What do you think will happen to him next?
I feel like Winston immediately like suspects danger. He thinks she might be a spy for the top police. Being followed makes him like paranoid, and it adds tension to his already fragile mental state. And there is also a chance this girl might not be what she seems, which creates a lot of like suspense. So yeah.
Yeah, he
basically.
seems really scared, like, and paranoid that someone could be following him, like, spying on him for the party. Yeah, I don't know what might happen next. Like, could be violence or just like a conversation. Like, I'm excited to see what happens next.
Me too.
So I know exactly what's going to happen next.
Me too.
What I will say is that it's not what I expected. Like, is it like a 180? Like, I was reading it this morning, and then I was like, I accidentally skimmed down the page, and then I was like, oh, whoops, okay, how did they get there? And then, yeah.
So it's like a sudden like change.
I did the
I almost
exact
accidentally
same
just
thing.
spoiled it.
Oh.
So I'll stop.
Yeah, no worries.
Anything?
All right.
Okay. All right.
Good.